Hey guys, Gizmodit here, and this is my review of the Moto E3 Power. As you guys know, Moto E is the cheapest entry-level smartphone that Motorola makes. I have used both of the previous generation Moto E devices, and this Moto E has been with me for the past 2 months, out of which it was my primary phone for about 3 to 4 weeks. This year it's been made under Lenovo, and there has been some changes which I think I might not like. So without wasting any more time, let's get started with my review of the Moto E3 Power. When I said that Lenovo has changed a few things about the Moto E3, I was particularly referring to the hardware inside this phone. If you look at all the previous Motorola devices, they've always had a Qualcomm CPU, whereas the E3 Power gets a MediaTek CPU. Now, I'm not saying that MediaTek CPUs are bad, but the one in the Moto E3 Power is disappointing when it comes to performance. Games like Asphalt 8 or Nova 3 could barely run on the phone, and apart from that, even day to day usage was not as fluid as it should be. The E3 Power gets a very basic and light version of stock Android, but I still could see frequent instances of frame drops and lags here and there. I expected it to be a lot smoother because it runs on vanilla Android, but I was quite disappointed. E3 Power's primary competitor, which is the Redmi 3S, is way better in terms of performance and it could play almost every game with ease. Even in day to day usage, the Redmi 3S felt better than the E3 Power. If you are a really basic user, you might not notice it, but medium to high end users will definitely feel that the Moto E3 Power is not as responsive as it should be. So, in terms of performance, the Moto E3 Power is really unimpressive and I am very unhappy with it. Moving on to the outside of this phone, the E3 Power's design looks like a blend of the third and fourth generation Moto G. The phone is completely made out of plastic, but it does not really feel cheap. The back of the phone has a textured pattern which feels nice to hold, and you still have the Motorola dimple, although it's not as recessed as it used to be. The back is removable, and on the inside, you have a removable battery, two micro SIM card slots, and a separate SD card slot. I appreciate Motorola for using a separate SD card slot because a lot of manufacturers are using the hybrid SIM card slot, which I really don't like. There's also some sort of nano coating on the phone, so it does not make the phone waterproof, but it might protect it from minor water encounters. The phone is a bit bulky for its size, and I did not like the feel of the power and the volume buttons. They wobble quite a bit and they feel cheap. Overall, the Moto E3 Power feels good, but not as premium as its chief competitor, the Redmi 3S Prime. In terms of camera, we have an 8 megapixel sensor at the back and a 5 megapixel sensor on the front. The image quality is not that great and you can't really expect much at this price. I have compared the image quality of this phone with the Redmi 3S in my Moto E3 versus Redmi 3S video. So if you guys are interested in watching it, you can watch it by clicking the link in the description box. The Moto E3 Power seems to have some bug in Snapchat because I couldn't record videos in it. This bug is there on Snapchat ever since I'm using this phone and it hasn't been fixed yet. The Moto E3 Power also gets a 5-inch 720p display which is quite average. The colors seem fine on it and the visibility in direct sunlight is decent as well. The viewing angles are subpar because there's a slight yellowish tint that appears on the display when you tilt the phone sideways. Motorola calls this phone the E3 Power because it has a massive 3500 mAh of battery. It does the job quite well. I did manage anywhere between 5.5 to 7 hours of screen on time, which included using the phone as a hotspot for 4G data. The battery life is impressive and it's close enough to the Redmi 3S from Xiaomi. The advantage that this phone has is the ability of swapping the battery on the go. So you can have some extra batteries and not worry about your phone running out of juice. The Moto E3 Power, like I said earlier, gets dual SIM card slots and there's support for 4G and VoLTE. There is a loudspeaker on the front side of the phone which outputs decent quality audio while playing music or watching videos. In terms of pricing, the Moto E3 Power is priced at 8000 rupees in India. For this price, you can get the Redmi 3S or the Redmi 3S Prime, and even Motorola has the Moto G4 Play for 9000 rupees, which gets a Snapdragon 410 and supports 1080p video recording. Motorola under Lenovo is diversifying the Moto G and the Moto E lineup a lot, and I don't really see the point of launching the Moto E3 Power. The Redmi 3S is better than the E3 Power in almost every aspect, especially in terms of performance, where the E3 Power really falls behind. So I personally wouldn't recommend the Moto E3 to anyone at this price. There is nothing exciting about this phone, and when you have some better options at the same price, I don't really see why you would buy this phone. I'm quite disappointed with the Moto E3, and I hope Motorola does a better job next time. That wraps up my review of the Moto E3 Power. Do let me know your thoughts about this phone in the comments. And as always, please like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe to the channel by clicking the red subscribe button below the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.